In this story, we proudly present to you the story of Formula One. Formula One, the pinnacle of motorsport, is a high-stakes, high-speed competition that has captured the imagination of fans around the world for over 7 decades. From its humble beginnings in the post-World War II era to the high-tech, multi-billion-dollar industry it is today, Formula One has evolved into a global phenomenon that has seen legends of the sport rise to fame and fortune, while others have suffered tragic accidents or political controversies. The story of Formula One is one of innovation, rivalry, triumph, and tragedy. A thrilling tale of the pursuit of glory and the human desire to push the limits of what is possible, both on and off the track. For everything you need to know, stay tuned. You are about to find out. How it all started. Formula One was created as the pinnacle of motorsport racing in the 1950s by the Fédération Internationale de l'Automobile, FIA, the governing body for international motorsport. Until today, the FIA is responsible for setting guidelines and regulations for the sport, such as technical regulations, sporting regulations, safety guidelines, and environmental guidelines. The first Formula One World Championship race was held at Silverstone, UK in 1950. At the time, the championship was open to cars with 1.5-liter supercharged or 4.5-liter naturally aspirated engines, with the cars being built to a set of technical regulations or formula. This formula would be revised periodically to keep up with changes in technology and safety. The championship quickly became popular with racing enthusiasts and expanded to include races in different countries, with teams and manufacturers from all around the world competing for the coveted championship title. Today, Formula One is a global sport with a worldwide following, featuring some of the most advanced technology and skilled drivers in the world. The first Formula One world champion was Giuseppe Farina. He won the inaugural championship in 1950, driving for the Alfa Romeo team. Farina won 3 races that year, including the first ever Formula One race at Silverstone. He finished the season with 30 points, 3 points ahead of Juan Manuel Fangio, who finished second in the championship standings. Farina was an Italian racing driver and had a successful career in various motorsport disciplines before becoming the first Formula One world champion. Teams competing in F1. At the start of the first Formula One World Championship season in 1950, there were a total of 8 teams that competed. These teams were Alfa Romeo, Maserati, Talbot Lago, Ferrari, Era, Cooper, Simca Gordini, and Alta. Each team entered multiple cars, summing up to a total of 21 drivers competing in the first Formula One race at Silverstone, UK in 1950. Over the years, the number of teams competing in Formula One has varied, with a current grid of 10 teams and 20 drivers, each team entering 2 cars. For the 2023 season, the 10 teams that are competing are Mercedes, Red Bull Racing, McLaren, Aston Martin, Alpine, Ferrari, AlphaTauri, Alfa Romeo, Williams, Haas F1 team. How much does an F1 car cost back then and today? The cost of an F1 car has increased significantly since the beginning of the championship. In the early years of the F1, the cost of building a car was much lower, with teams often building their own cars in-house using parts from other manufacturers. However, as the sport has become more competitive and the technology has become more advanced, the cost of building an F1 car has skyrocketed. In the 1950s, it is estimated that the cost of building an F1 car was around $20,000 to $30,000. This would include the cost of the chassis, engine, and other components. Adjusted for inflation, this would be equivalent to around $200,000 to $300,000 in today's currency. Today, the cost of building an F1 car is much higher, with some estimates suggesting that the cost of building a competitive car can be as high as $200 million per year. This includes the cost of design and development, manufacturing, and ongoing maintenance throughout the season. However, it's worth noting that the cost can vary significantly depending on the team and the resources available to them. It is difficult to estimate the cost of each part of a Formula One car, as the cost can vary significantly. However, here are some rough estimates of the cost of some of the key components of an F1 car. Chassis. The cost of an F1 chassis can vary from team to team, but it's estimated that the cost can be anywhere between $700,000 to $1.5 million. Engine. The cost of an F1 engine can be as high as $15 million per year for a team that is not receiving engine supply from a manufacturer. However, teams that are supplied engines from manufacturers usually pay significantly less. Gearbox. The cost of an F1 gearbox can be between $500,000 to $1 million. Suspension. The cost of F1 suspension can vary widely depending on the team and the specific components, but it can cost anywhere between $100,000 to $200,000. Steering wheel. The cost of an F1 steering wheel is approximately $50,000 to $70,000. Front wing. Approximate cost around $150,000. It's important to note that these are just rough estimates and the cost can vary depending on the team and the specific component. Additionally, these costs are just for the parts themselves and do not include the cost of design, development, and ongoing maintenance. How many races are there per season, and what does a race weekend look like? The number of races per season in Formula One has varied over the years. In the early years of the championship, there were fewer races per season, with only 7 races held in the inaugural 1950 season. However, in recent years, the number of races has increased. Currently, the Formula One season consists of around 20 to 23 races per year. The exact number of races can vary from season to season, depending on various factors such as scheduling conflicts, logistical considerations, and other factors. The 2021 and 2022 season, for example, consisted of 22 races, while the 2020 season was reduced to 17 races due to the COVID-19 pandemic. In the 2023 season, we are about to witness a record-breaking number of 23 races in one season. A typical Formula One race weekend consists of several practice sessions, qualifying, and the race itself. Here is a breakdown of the events that typically take place during a race weekend. Friday. Free Practice 1. A 90-minute practice session in which drivers and teams can test the car's setup, tire performance, and track conditions. Free Practice 2. A 90-minute practice session in which drivers and teams can continue to test the car's setup and gather data on tire performance and track conditions. Saturday. Free Practice 3. A 60-minute practice session in which drivers and teams can make final adjustments to the car's setup and prepare for qualifying. Qualifying. A session where drivers compete to test the fastest lap time to determine their starting position on the grid for the race. Qualifying consists of 3 parts: Q1, Q2, and Q3. In Q1, all drivers take part and the slowest 5 are eliminated. In Q2, the remaining 15 drivers compete and the slowest 5 are again eliminated. In Q3, the final 10 drivers compete for pole position. Sunday. Race. The main event of the weekend, in which drivers compete to complete a set number of laps of the circuit in the shortest time possible. The race distance varies depending on the track, but is typically between 300 to 400 kilometers. The minimum race distance is 305 kilometers, 190 miles. The only exception is the Monaco Grand Prix, which runs at 260 kilometers, 160 miles. In addition to these events, there are also press conferences, autograph sessions, and other promotional events that take place over the course of the weekend. The F1 Grand Prix points allocation for a race is as follows. First place, 25 points. Second place, 18 points. Third place, 15 points. Fourth place, 12 points. Fifth place, 10 points. Sixth place, 8 points. Seventh place, 6 points. Eighth place, 4 points. Ninth place, 2 points. 10th place, 1 point. The most decorated F1 drivers and some notable F1 records. Michael Schumacher and Lewis Hamilton hold the record for the most World Drivers' Championships, both having won the title on 7 occasions. Juan Manuel Fangio is third with 5 titles. Lewis Hamilton holds the record for the most race wins in Formula One history with 103 wins to date. Michael Schumacher, the previous record holder, is second with 91 wins, and Sebastian Vettel is third with 53 victories. Kimi Räikkönen holds the record of the longest time between his first win and his last. It took him a span of 15 years and 212 days from his first Grand Prix win at the 2003 Malaysian Grand Prix to his last at the 2018 US Grand Prix. The record for the longest period of time between 2 race wins is held by Riccardo Patrese, more than 6.5 years between the 1983 South African Grand Prix and the 1990 San Marino Grand Prix. Mario Andretti had to wait the longest time between his first ever victory in the 1971 South African Grand Prix and his second, which came 5 years, 7 months, and 18 days later at the 1976 Japanese Grand Prix. Sebastian Vettel holds the record for the most consecutive wins, having won 9 Grand Prix in a row from the 2013 Belgian Grand Prix to the 2013 Brazilian Grand Prix. Max Verstappen is the youngest winner of a Grand Prix. He was 18 years and 228 days old when he won the 2016 Spanish Grand Prix. To mention more, he also currently holds the record for the most podium finishes in a season, most wins in a season, and most points in a season. Luigi Fagioli is the oldest winner of a Formula One Grand Prix. He was 53 years and 22 days old when he won the 1951 French Grand Prix. Most iconic rivalries. Formula One has had many iconic rivalries throughout its history, and here are 4 of the most notable ones. James Hunt versus Niki Lauda. The rivalry between Hunt and Lauda was a battle between 2 very different personalities. Hunt was known for his playboy lifestyle and flamboyant driving style, while Lauda was more reserved and analytical. The rivalry came to a head in 1976 when Lauda suffered a horrific crash that nearly killed him, and Hunt went on to win the championship. Ayrton Senna versus Alain Prost. This is perhaps the most iconic rivalry in F1 history. Senna and Prost were teammates at McLaren in 1988 and 1989, but their intense rivalry came to a head in 1989 and 1990 when they collided on the track while fighting for the championship. Their rivalry was fueled by their contrasting personalities and driving styles. Michael Schumacher versus Mika Häkkinen. Schumacher and Häkkinen had a fierce rivalry in the late 1990s and early 2000s. Schumacher was known for his aggressive driving style and relentless pursuit of victory, while Häkkinen was more reserved and tactical. Their rivalry came to a head in 2000 and 2001 when they battled for the championship, with Schumacher ultimately winning both titles. Lewis Hamilton versus Nico Rosberg. Hamilton and Rosberg were teammates at Mercedes from 2013 to 2016, and their intense rivalry was fueled by their close friendship and similar driving abilities. Their rivalry came to a head in 2016 when Rosberg won the championship before retiring from F1. Would you like to listen to some of the most iconic team radio sequences? We've got you covered.
What Palmer is doing? He needs to give me back the position. Where is Palmer?
And Fernando Palmer has retired.
Karma.
Hey! Hey! Steering wheel, somebody tell him to give it to me. Come on! Move!
There's something loose between my legs, apart from the obvious. So something flying around my feet.
Okay, copy.
40-21's in. Yeah, multi-21.
GP2, engine. GP2. Ah!
Felipe, Fernando is faster than you. Felipe, Fernando behind is faster than you. That's the message.
Missed that feeling, guys. Thank you. James, it's Valtteri. Well done.
Indeed, man. Well, that's payback from last year, Valtteri.
Indeed. To whom it may concern you.
And you is Alonso. I'll keep you updated on the gap. I'll keep you updated on the pace.
Just leave me alone, I know what to do. We've seen a deer, like a horse with horns. I know. Oh dear.
No, Mikey, no, Mikey, that was so not right. Mikey, what was that?
Best rookies in F1 history. There have been many impressive rookies in Formula One history. Here are some of the best rookies based on their performances in their debut season. Jacques Villeneuve. In 1996, Villeneuve made his debut with the Williams team and finished second in the championship behind his teammate Damon Hill. He won 4 races and secured 10 pole positions, setting a new record for the most pole positions in a rookie season. Lewis Hamilton. In 2007, Lewis Hamilton made his debut with the McLaren team and finished second in the championship, narrowly missing out on the title. He won 4 races and secured 6 pole positions, becoming the first rookie to lead the championship since Jacques Villeneuve in 1996. Max Verstappen. In 2015, Verstappen made his debut with the Toro Rosso team and became the youngest driver in Formula One history at the age of 17. He finished 12th in the championship but impressed with his speed and racecraft, scoring points in 10 races and finishing 4th in Hungary and the US. Charles Leclerc. In 2018, Leclerc made his debut with the Sauber team and scored points in 10 races, finishing 13th in the championship. He impressed with his speed and consistency, earning a promotion to the Ferrari team the following season. Salaries of F1 drivers. The salaries of F1 drivers vary widely depending on a number of factors, including the driver's experience, success on the track, and negotiating power with their team. While there is no official average salary for Formula One drivers, some reports suggest that the top drivers can earn upwards of $30 million per year, while drivers at the lower end of the pay scale may earn less than $1 million per year. In recent years, some teams have adopted a policy of paying their drivers based on performance, with bonuses for wins, pole positions, and other achievements. This can result in some drivers earning significantly more than their base salary, depending on their success on the track. It's worth noting that the salaries of Formula One drivers are often not disclosed publicly, and the exact amounts can be difficult to confirm. For the 2023 season, it is said that Max Verstappen leads the pack with a whopping salary of $55 million. Constructors Championship. The Constructors Championship was first awarded in 1958 to Vanwall as the International Cup for Formula One manufacturers. The World Constructors Championship is presented to the most successful F1 constructor over the course of the season through a point system based on individual Grand Prix results. Points scored in each race by any driver for that constructor are counted towards the Constructors Championship total. From 1958 up until the 1978 season, only the highest-scoring driver in each race for each constructor contributed points towards the World Constructors Championship. Since the 1979 season, points from all cars entered by each constructor count towards the championship total. Ferrari holds the record for the highest number of World Constructors Championships with 16 wins, followed by Williams with 9 and McLaren and Mercedes with 8 titles each. Scandals. Formula One has its fair share of scandals throughout its history. Here are some of the most notable ones. Spygate. In 2007, it was revealed that the McLaren team had obtained confidential technical information from their rivals Ferrari. This resulted in the exclusion from the 2007 Constructors' Championship and a $100 million fine for the team, the largest in the history of Formula One at the time. Crashgate. In 2008, it was discovered that the Renault team had instructed their driver, Nelson Piquet Jr., to crash deliberately during the Singapore Grand Prix in order to give his teammate, Fernando Alonso, an advantage. The team was fined $100,000 and several team members were banned from the sport. Pirelli tire controversy. In 2013, there were allegations that the Pirelli tires used in the sport were not consistent and were giving some teams an unfair advantage. The controversy led to changes in the way the tires were produced and tested. Engine controversy. In 2019, allegations were made that Ferrari had found a way to circumvent the rules governing the amount of fuel that could be used by their engine, giving them an unfair advantage over their rivals. The team was cleared of any wrongdoing by the FIA, but the controversy raised questions about the fairness of the sport. Racing Point copy controversy. In 2020, the Racing Point team was accused of copying the design of the championship-winning Mercedes car from the previous year. The team was fined and docked points for breaching the sporting regulations, and the controversy sparked debate about the ethics of copying designs in the sport. These scandals and controversies have highlighted the intense competitiveness and high stakes involved in Formula One, and have prompted changes to the rules and regulations governing the sport. With that being said, we hope to see more exciting races, drivers, and action-packed battles in the month and years ahead. Thank you for watching. I appreciate you.